Welcome back to another episode of the Grow Your Daycare podcast. I am happy that you're here, friend. Grab some coffee. I am recording this. It is Saturday morning, and I wanted to make sure that I bring this to you because I know that once you understand what we're going to discuss in this video, it's going to change the way you create content, the way you put posts together, graphics together, and really just the way you think about growing your daycare center or your in-home program or your preschool. Okay. So we're going to be talking about why knowing your audience is key in growing your childcare business. Like, why is that so important? And I'm going to give you some examples. I'm going to walk you through some ideas to kind of think on. And hopefully it's going to get your creative juices flowing so that you can actually implement what I'm going to talk to you about. Okay. So take some notes if you have to. And again, I have the MP3 version of this, the podcast version of this over on my podcast, as well as a blog if you prefer to actually read your content that way. Okay. So whatever way you like to consume your content, I got you covered. So why is understanding what your audience, your ideal moms and dads, right? The people that you want to serve, the people that you want to have in your daycare, why is that important to growing your childcare business? This is an idea that I think kind of confuses a lot of childcare business owners because in childcare, you don't necessarily see yourself as a business owner or as a marketer or as a seller for that matter. You really love children. It's your calling in life to work with young children. Maybe you have a small team, a small center, or even an in-home, and you don't really think of yourself as the marketer or as the seller. But this is so important, you guys, because everything we do in our businesses, whether you're selling candles, selling services, done for you programs, online courses, and yes, even childcare, you have to see yourself as a marketer, as a seller, so that you can actually grow your business and have a sustainable business that's actually going to pay the bills, right, at the end of the month. So understanding who your ideal clients are and more importantly, what they want, what they're looking for is so important because that is the basics of your marketing. That is the foundation that you're actually going to build your marketing on, right? So let me give you a quick example. When I'm working with clients one-on-one, I actually started working with a brand new home daycare provider. She is in California. She just opened her program. She has 0 kids enrolled. The first thing we did was we talked about her program, her offer, her educational approach, her hours of operation, why someone should say yes to her versus, a daycare down the street, what she does different, better, what she offers that kind of fills in the gap in her community. Once we get real clear on that, then we can actually start building her marketing on top of that, right? So with her website, her messaging, her branding, her promo videos, her ads, right? So it's so important that as a business owner, you do the work so that your job of advertising and really growing your business just becomes a whole lot easier, okay? So thinking of this, I just need to reach out to parents in my area, it's just not good enough anymore. You have to start thinking about how the world has shifted, how parents' needs have shifted, especially over the last couple of years, right? And you have to really start adjusting your messaging to really address that and always start thinking about who do you want to have in your program? Who is the best type of family that's going to get the most out of your program and out of your approach and the way you do things? And how can you actually message that properly using all your platforms to reach these people, to get in front of their eyeballs and to get them to notice you, like you, trust you enough to say, yes, let's book a visit. Let me come visit your program. Okay. So what are modern, and I say modern because these are newer parents, right? When I was running my center, parents were looking for different things, but younger parents now are looking for other things, right? Things that not necessarily the parents that I had in my daycare like 10, 15 years ago weren't really looking for, okay? So what are modern parents looking for in today's world? We have to understand what their expectations are so that we can address them properly, okay? So it's really important that we start thinking about that. Competition is a real deal. Parents' schedules, routines have shifted. And it's important that you address these things in your content and when you're putting kind of the idea, right, the avatar of what this ideal family is, okay? So the first thing I want you to consider and these are all just things for you to really ponder on, okay, is safety and security, right? So obviously over the last few years, we've seen a huge shift towards, more concerns about health and safety. And parents obviously want to know that wherever they're going to enroll their kids, whether that's school, dance class, karate class, and even daycare, that their kids are going to be well monitored, that it's a clean environment, it's safe, you're following all the guidelines, right? And you've done everything you have to do to make sure that your environment is safe and secure, right? So you want to start thinking about these things, because especially going forward, and yes, with more modern parents online and going through all the things that we necessarily didn't go through back in our day, we always have to be putting this in the forefront. Okay, so safety and security is one of those things that you want to think about. What types of things are you doing to ensure that the kids are safe in your program, in your environment, in your in-home, in your center? And are you addressing these things in your content every single day? Okay. The other thing I want you to think about is your educational program, because again, as I mentioned before, there's more and more competition out there, more schools taking 4-year-olds, more in-homes opening up. So it's really important that you understand not only how to make sure that parents know that you're running a safe program, but you want to make sure that they understand that you do things differently, better. Your program is unique, and this is why. Okay. So thinking about your educational approach, your curriculum, the activities that you're planning. And you always want to always be thinking about that and educating families in your community about these things, right? So for example, let's say you're running a Montessori program. It's not many parents that really understand the philosophy of Montessori, in my experience, at least. So if you're running a Montessori program, it's important for you to actually create content that addresses that. It talks about the importance of, the curriculum, what you do different, giving some ideas as to what the toys look like, what's expected from the kids, how your daycare or your Montessori is different from a regular daycare center or a regular daycare classroom. So these are all things that, in terms of content, you can actually start putting together in your messaging, in your marketing, to really attract those parents that are interested in Montessori programs. Okay. So that's the other thing, thinking about your educational curriculum and thinking about, am I doing a good job at really separating myself from the crowd, from the rest, from my competition? And is this clear in my marketing, in my messaging, when I'm giving tours, when I'm recording videos, when I'm going live on my platforms, whatever the case is, right? The other thing you want to think about in terms of what younger families are looking for right now is flexibility. As I mentioned before, a lot of people are working home, like virtually. A lot of schedules have shifted. Parents may not necessarily need to have their kids in daycare 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. So being flexible is something that you may have to do. And again, think about that and how you can actually integrate that in your program, and think, am I flexible enough? Am I offering different shifts? Or, do I really want to focus on full-timers instead of part-timers, right? And make that clear in your content as well. Number 4 is technology integration. We can't get away from technology, but using it in a way that's actually going to benefit the kids in your care is important. And more modern, more younger families are looking for tech, because let's face it, we're all on some type of a device, right, throughout the day, for work, for pleasure, for learning. So it's important that you kind of shift that mentality from, we don't do screens, to, we only allow screen time when, let's say, I don't know, it's 20 minutes a day, and we do this with it, like it's something educational, right? And on top of that, we don't always want to focus on screen as an iPad and playing or apps. You can actually integrate technology with having like an app that the parents can sign up for and download on their devices, where they can communicate with you easily, when they can kind of log in and see what the kids are doing, right? So think about things you could be innovative when it comes to technology, and how you can actually get your program to offer these things, because we know that more and more modern families are looking for these things. Okay. And number 5, community and reviews, really, really important. Modern families want a sense of community, a sense of belonging, that they're a part of something. So make sure that you think about that when you're putting your marketing together. And also reviews, because obviously everyone goes online to check reviews, whether you're buying a shirt from Amazon, or whether you're looking for a local restaurant to go eat at with your kids. So we go online and we check out the reviews. So it's really important that you understand that this is important for younger families these days, and do your best to go out and get these reviews on your platforms, on your website, and keep them somewhere where you can actually go in and create content with them and post about them on your platforms, and obviously encourage families that have gone through your program to actually go on your platform. So on your Google My Business, on your website, on your social media, to actually leave you these reviews. It's just so important. Okay. So how do you identify your target audience, right? So that's the other thing you may be thinking to yourself. Okay, I see what modern families are looking for, but I'm still not clear as to who my ideal client is, or what type of client should I serve. Okay. So again, this is going to look different for every program out there. For my daycare, when I was running my center, I was in a commercial building where they had some classes upstairs. We had a government funded program for newly arrived immigrants in our province. So they would come into our province, and the government would pay for these people to find daycare, to find job, teach them a language and all sorts of things, right? So I knew my audience was someone that was brand new to our country, and also that didn't have the funds to pay, X amount of money, right? So I had to go get the subsidies and the funding to serve this client, right? So all my messaging was catered around their needs and that type of client, right? This can be different for you. So think about what type of clients you currently have in your program, right? So think about their backgrounds, their careers, where they live in your community, their preferences. And this might give you a good idea as to what type of client you should be kind of focusing your attention on. Obviously, you want to do this if the clients in your care, you're happy with them and they're paying you on time and they love what you do, right? So let's say that is the ideal. Like you have, let's say, X amount of clients in your program that you wish you had more of. Start thinking about where you found these people, how they saw you, how they contacted you, where they saw your ad or your post. And maybe that could give you an idea as to what type of client you should be actually reaching for, instead of, just creating content and trying to reach everybody in your community. The other thing you want to think about is what services does your center specialize in, or your daycare specialize in. So again, I was offering, integration services. I was offering lower fees. We were funded by our government. So what types of services do you offer? Do you specialize in, right? Do you offer many languages? Are you bilingual? Maybe this is a eco-friendly daycare, nature-based, and maybe you have a lot of extracurricular activities or specialists that come into the program and do, STEM-based programs, or I don't know, robotics or things like that. So what is it that you specialize in? And start thinking about that as well, because that's obviously going to help you reach families that are interested in those things, okay? And also, what challenges do parents in your community face? So this is a big one. This really goes into market research and understanding where you can actually fill in the gap in your community. So I'll give you a quick example. Let's say you want to go into, I don't know, a local Facebook group where parents are hanging out in your community, in your town, and you want to ask the question, so what types of services do you think are lacking when it comes to childcare? And you might start getting some responses like, more activities, more educational content, a bilingual program. I wish we had a Montessori program in our area. I wish the daycares in our area were opened a little bit earlier, or maybe they offered after school care, or maybe they closed their doors a little bit later in the day. So these are all things to kind of think about when you're putting this ideal client avatar together, and you think to yourself, this is what my community wants. This is what they need. No one else is kind of doing it in my community. What can I do to get these clients? Where can I fill in the gap, basically, right? So it's really important that you do this work, because that's how you're going to understand, again, what type of content to create, how to advertise your services when it comes to social media, so that you can attract more clients, right? If you don't do this work, if you don't understand who your ideal clients are, what the needs are in today's world, what modern families are looking for, then you're going to struggle, because you're going to be posting randomly things that just kind of are all over the place, and you're not going to attract anyone like that, okay? So make sure that you're identifying your target audience. It is such a crucial step in any marketing when it comes to any type of business, understanding who you're trying to speak to. What is this mom and dad facing? What are their concerns? What are their struggles? Where can you fill in the gap? And then really communicate this to the best of your abilities through your website, through your content, through your services and what you are offering so that you can grow your family and just serve amazing clients that you actually love being around every single day. Okay. So I hope that this video blesses you and your business. I hope that you kind of got some ideas. You understood, oh, well, okay, maybe I could do this better or that better, and you actually implement and take action. Now, if you need help with your marketing, let's say you're interested in Facebook ads, or you wish you had someone kind of creating social media posts for you, we actually have a lot of services that can actually help you. We have the Childcare Business Growth Hub, $17 a month, and we actually create social media content and text it to our members every single morning at 6 a.m. Eastern time. If you want to get some more information, all the links are in the description of this video. Check it out. Other than that, have an amazing rest of your week, and I'll see you guys again next week. Bye.